Hello, I am Tato Cat and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing The Letter. Previously, Luke had a terrible, no good, very bad day. All he wanted to do was sleep and he couldn't. After getting Hana to sleep after she was sick, he had a nightmare. And then he woke up, thought Hana was next to him, wasn't him. Something was breathing down, thought it was going to stab it, but turned out to be nothing. Then it finally goes back to sleep, but is woken up by a doorbell rang by Zach at 6:30. And of course, hoping somebody would answer it, because he is no present. No one did, so he has to answer the door for himself. How dare the world. And then he promptly to the store, goes back up, can't sleep, makes breakfast instead, tries to give Hana breakfast, can't give Hana breakfast because Hansi interrupts him. By the way, where was Hansi earlier? Ugh. And then Hansi takes us here, and that is where we left off. Alright, let's continue. It starts. Blackman, the one who called himself friend of Hana's. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not to think that he would be caught trying to, no doubt, rob me blind. It's a bit disappointing. I thought I'd be proven wrong in my assumptions. He is a looking up a word, hold on. Oh. For some reason I was thinking, like a pirate term sort of thing. I'm not saying that word. But the man had seemed the serene, if nervous sorts when I met him. He had seemed an honest, good-natured man, though his friendliness with my wife irked me to no end.
And he's still alive, isn't he?
It's hard to tell with the way his body is too still, breathing too light. But it's there, the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Its presence lets me breathe a sigh of relief. A death caused by one of my men is normal, to be expected, really. What does Luke do, really? I mean, it's to be expected? A dead body I can deal with. It'll just be one of the many I've seen. But if one turns up while the missus is home, I'm not too thrilled with the idea.
I saw no reason to do more than incapacitate him. So yes, the man is still alive.
Well, thank you, Hansi, for that.
Of course, that can be remedied if you wish.
No, let's not.
No, this is fine. He wasn't trying to kill us, was he?
I can't imagine Zach being a killer.
If he was wholly unprepared. But I do not think he had such nefarious purposes. He is a big man, but he seems too soft to be a hired killer. A common trespasser or petty thief, maybe. Certainly nothing more.
Hans needs his own game. If a petty thief dares to try anything against me, people are forgetting their place and smacking microphones. He's to be made an example of. A guy slacks off for once and everyone thinks they can get away with taking advantage. His thieving way is going to be his one-way ticket behind boss. It's only as my anger washes away that I realize the sun is starting to rise off into the horizon, and I can only feel annoyance at myself for missing another night of sleep.
Call the police then. Let them round him up and bring me some bloody coffee while you're at it.
Not coffee with blood in it, mind you. I feel like that you need to be specific in this household, given the fact that there's a ghost there with just randomly turns the place into a bloodbath. Thankfully, he leaves me to my own simmering as I take one of the free seats. And while waiting for my drink, I find myself staring at this man. I can see why Hana took an interest in him. Did I read the journal? Come Sunday morning, Luke continues caring for his sick wife, going to eat. Lost my train of thought. Going as far as preparing breakfast for her. However, before he could wake Hana, his butler called his attention to a problem in the foyer. Well, at least he's alive. I mean, we know when he dies, but still.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Hana is nice, but that doesn't mean she can befriend every John and Jane from the streets.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Look at the man you called a perfect gentleman now, dearest.
Look, Luke. Nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
A friend who takes advantage of someone who has shown them kindness. Truly, such as soft hearts cannot survive this world for long. Hana is only so lucky that I am here for her. You better to protect her from monsters than the worst of them all. And as it always does, when I'm in such situations, the power I wield hits me like a natural high. Oh, it's the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's something else when I can hold a man's life in my hands without resorting to murder. A person is as good as incarcerated the moment I send them to Harvey's way. And this makes me wonder if I can make Luxury Living grovel, beg for my forgiveness because of the crime committed against me by one of their staff. Deep in my thoughts, stuck in my power trip, that rush through me I barely notice when we have company, until Strachan puts a cup of coffee in my hands.
Officer Carl and his colleague are here to collect. They'll want your statement.
And, as he says, there are 2 officers by this door. Though I can't even bother sparing them the slightest of glance before looking back at the unconscious person.
If they need my statement, I'll give it to their chief. I'm due a visit to a good friend anyway.
After my coffee and a bit of breakfast, of course. Once I'm done breaking my fast, and after a cool shower, I call Strachan. He is a monster who takes cool showers. No, showers must be hot enough to melt your skin off of your face. to drive me to the police station so I can give my statement. Through it all, Hannah still slumbers, sleeping off whatever illness has taken her. Right to the precinct is a quiet affair. I'm in no mood for idle chatter. With what little sleep I've had even. Not everything is as smooth sailing, however, as soon as I arrive to the precinct either. But as they say, a smooth sea has never made a skilled sailor. It would be more suspicious if everything had gone on without ruckus. And it would be more boring too, because who doesn't love a good fight and a bit of drama? There's nothing quite like beating your opponent down and making them learn who's the boss. If life just slumped over, there'd be no point in even trying, but I would have been much happier if the troubles of life threw at me didn't include ruining my suit. Life, in this case, is that estate agent Lily, who had the audacity to throw water at me. The audacity! Oh no.
You bloody...
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Who even does that? That third world country woman who's gotten too big for her britches, that's who. This is a Zinton X5, and this whole ensemble costs me £40,000. I could charge her for water damages to the tie alone and have her begging down on her knees for my forgiveness. That Lily girl, really now. If I hadn't heard another company she works for is closing, I'd talk to her manager and have her fired. A graceful exit into the police chief's room was all I can muster in the face of such insults. My mood is further soured by the fact that I can still see the rest of the precinct from here. At the very least, Johannes is making himself useful and standing outside the door to make sure no one enters unannounced. And now, here I am, dabbing a handkerchief at my wet suit to no avail. What's the point of a suit? That even though it's so perfectly made, so so used with so much of the bestest materials and sewed by the bestest people, if water ruins it, it's like those bathing suits that you can't swim in. And now, I've read that part already, got it. It'd have to be given to one of the maids to clean up as soon as I get home. This is just horrible. The interlining is going to pucker and pull. Ugh. But at least it's not wine, I suppose, or coffee, 'cause that burns.
I'm so sorry about what happened out there, mate.
I feel like he's not, though.
But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate. But I didn't come here to talk about these hot-headed daft villains. They could be dead from the neck up for all I care.
He has the propensity to forget one tiny detail. I own him. Kinky. I want to seethe and rage, remind him who exactly the boss here is. I very well can, thanks to the wonders of soundproofing. But distressed and nervous expression on his face stops me from giving him a tongue lashing. It would really do me no good to be at odds with me when he does prove to be a good, useful ally from time to time. So I listen when he speaks, focusing on the smell of coffee and cigarettes that fill the room in order to calm my tongue. For now. But boy, when you let a man like Harvey Lee speak, he speaks a lot.
Look, all I'm asking is that you be a bit patient with them. You do realize a good chunk of them don't work. They aren't with you, so to speak.
They are not with me? Well, we gotta change that, because I own everything.
Bunch of kids who think the police are superheroes or some cock and bull. They don't know how things work around here. Especially that Frey boy. The lot of them are just tired.
And why are you telling me this?
Because he thinks it has something to do with you, buddy boy.
I was going to ask you if you knew anything about it. Perhaps one of yours know. There's been a string of unfortunate incidents as of late. Just recently, some bloke named Christian C was acting all nuts.
He said that part twice. Okay.
Off his rocker, that man. And we had to hold him, thought he was drunk. Up until he started bashing his brains in.
Oh, that sounds unpleasant.
Now he's a vegetable in a hospital bed.
Sounds more unpleasant. Seems more like a strain of unpleasant events as opposed to unfortunate events.
Another time, some Mark Julius was reported missing. Some are thinking we've got a serial killer on our hands as of late. That Cooper lady from BRC got done in, and a Father Norman, too.
Not Father Norman. He seemed pretty cool. I mean, I only met him the one time and he was kind of crazy, but, like, I bet he was a guy with his heart in the right place.
You have to understand, mate.
Do I, though? I don't have to do anything I don't want to.
In a place as peaceful as Luxburn, this makes people wary. Reported crime rates go a bit higher than usual, and it makes them antsy and temperamental.
Are you implying that I have anything to do with them?
Yes. Just a lot.
Because as much as I hate to say it and admit, I am out of the loop. This is the first I've heard of these incidents.
I love the little pause there. It feels like he had to really think about that. It was like, I am, like, did I do it? What was I doing last week? Yeah. No, not me. I'm not in the loop this time. Really, I'd say I'm insulted, but this is par for the course. Harvey knows who and what I am. We have a deal of sorts after all. Does Luke ever dirty his own hands? Is he ever directly responsible for the murder? Or does he just get guys to kill for him? Crime is always expected in a society with laws and with humans who are allowed their free will. But why not strike a deal with the devil to make sure that said crime has some order, at least?
Ah, well, that's a shame, I suppose. Figured if we could get any leads, it'd be from you.
I can't stop the scoff that leaves me. Can these police officers really be so incompetent? The chief of the damn police force seems to find it amusing, however. Because as far as I can see, whether he believes it or not, He's got it easy in our little deal. He just has to sit back and relax, let me do my thing, and not turn against me while he gets to live a comfy life. But perhaps that's why I haven't killed him off yet. His predecessor to the position wasn't so agreeable.
You know, someday I'll stop turning in my own men when they piss me off.
Well then, who would you have to go murder for you? You'd have to do a whole hiring process to find new murderers. Seems like a lot of work, mate.
And what will you do then? You and your men will all be lost without me.
I'll just hope that when the time comes, I'll already be all wrinkly and retired then.
It's a play of his. It always is. To act all casual and chuckling at everything like it doesn't faze him. Pretends he's one of those kind, wise, old men types so that people can't bring themselves to be angry at him. But I've seen him drunk off his ass, bemoaning fate, what he's become. Though he tries to be as vague as he can, even in his inebriated state. And I've seen the malice this man is capable of. That's why it confuses me with how he reacts to what I say next. What do you say next, Luke?
So what is our little gollywog looking at?
For fuck's sake. He said it. At least it's not me. At least it's not the N-word.
Now there's never a time or place for that kind of racist talk, son.
Good for you, Lee. Good for you. Stand for something or fall for everything is what they say. He cuts me off in a firm tone before I can say anything further. There is steel in his eyes, and he near slams his fist on the table when he does. And I can't help but sigh, realizing that he's going through one of his self-righteous streaks, whereas they may be.
You know our little deal ties up my hands when it comes to a lot of things with you. But I hear that Steele is a good kid, and I ask you at least show a bit of respect.
Yeah, don't mess with Zach.
He's a felon. I think I'm entitled to call him what I please. I don't
You're
owe him any respect at all.
Nothing, Mr. Manser. In my pockets he may be, but he still chose the path of the police officer for policeman himself when he was a young man. And I bet he just boils his blood that he has to deal with the likes of me. But in turn, I hate the sight of him. It makes him think he's still some do-good, some hero of justice. Because spineless fools were useful. Self-righteous ones forced me to do away with them eventually.
You put plenty of your own white men in jail. I don't see you calling them I don't know, white cracker or whatever lingo they have nowadays.
White cracker. Oh. That one doesn't cut as deep, that's why.
And if not respect, you can at least owe the lads some basic human decency.
Whatever. But if you gotta stick up your ass about it, I'll concede.
You know what? Luke reminds me of Cartman. I'm just waiting for him to say, respect my authority. But, more British.
He's going behind bars either way, for however long that is.
Besides, what does it matter if he's black or white? The color of his skin doesn't change anything about the circumstances. It's a trifle matter to argue over.
It's 6 months and a fine worth 5,000 for breaking and entering. Unless you'd be willing to go easy on the guy. Let him bump it down to a misdemeanor and juvenile offense. We'll be giving him probation and charge him for the damages.
Go easy on him, then we might have people trying to steal from us left and right. I guess. Or something.
And that's it.
That's it. That's what a white man gets, and that's what he gets too. Unless you're going to stir up a fuss and make a big deal out of this.
In case you've forgotten, I do what I want, Lee. I don't even see why you protect the man. He's nothing but a petty thief.
And won't that look bad on you? The Luke
Ooh.
Wright, getting his panties in a bunch over a petty thief.
Good one, Lee. Good one.
You said it yourself. He's nothing. Not worth your attention or effort. So why don't you just let me handle it like I'm supposed to?
And I do hate to say it, but he's got me there. I hate that all this power comes with great balancing act. Not great responsibility. Awesome. Be too lax and people will think they could get away with the smallest of things. Be too harsh and people will, well, they'll not want to work with me for long, and that's never a good thing in the long run. Tim? And it shows on me poorly if I were to fuss over such an insignificant little maggot.
Now is that all you're here for?
Well, there is another thing I want to ask. How's the wife? What happened to her? How did that go?
What? Can't I visit a friend? That detective. Feathers.
Feathers. Is he gonna know who Feathers is?
Should I be concerned about him? He seemed keen.
Feathers? Oh, you mean Frey?
Oh good, he gets it.
Nah, he's not really anything to worry about. I got him assigned to your case to make the whole thing believable. The boy's a good detective, one of the best I have on the force. But he won't be able to do shit with all the red tape tying him up. In fact, the higher-ups just took him off your tail.
Well, he is doing a pretty good job.
The case against me? I still have one?
Well, stop murdering people.
Harvey, my dear old friend. Have you been slacking off? Surely I told you to take care of that sort of thing. Surely it shouldn't have taken you this long. Surely it should be quiet by now on your end.
Surely you'd understand that maybe murdering people in a small town isn't a good idea.
They shouldn't be assigning anything to what's supposed to be a cold case.
I doubt you've got anything to really worry about unless you go out there and announce the shit you've done. They don't want to accuse the most powerful man in Luxburn without being 100% sure about things, of course.
The way he goes about it so nonchalantly.
But it's because of that company problem Suarez been talking about. Can't believe that's still a thing. You think the geek would have figured it out by now?
Yeah, what is going on with that?
He's supposed to be a computer genius. Don't go blaming me for it. He's the one slacking off if you ask me. Don't you be pointing fingers my way.
And has Suarez mentioned anything new about that?
You'd have to ask him about it. You know I don't understand half the technical computer mumbo-jumbo the guy goes on about.
Not the technical computer mumbo-jumbo.
It's like the guy speaks a whole other language. Which, technically he does, but you know what I mean.
Leak speak? Coding, I guess, as a language?
Yes, I suppose you have a point. Very well, if you haven't got anything else useful for me, I might as well head home. Get some bloody peace and quiet.
Screw you guys, I'm going home. I could have some tea, maybe with some whiskey and a nap, and why are we drinking again, Luke? And I'll be as right as rain. At least one of us should get good R&R, because it's not like Harvey isn't going to get any. Especially now that his darling wife has left him. I guess that's what happened to the wife. I'll be making him busy as punishment for slacking off and for her disrespect too. Really, I pity the poor old man. Maybe I should send him a gift basket, perhaps more caffeine and smokes to help him, along with his bad habits. Before I can leave the precinct, however, a shoulder bumps into mine. I wait for an apology. Who is it? And I wait.
Excuse me.
Excuse-moi, you know who I am. Oh, of course he's not gonna apologize to us. We killed his wife. Yeah, we'll see how this meeting goes in the next episode. I am Tato Cap. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.